Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's terrible light behind me, so I'm saying hello, and then you don't have to see me. We're going to put a lovely image up, but it is Clutch Chess Day 2. The points are doubled. So a win is now 2 points, a draw is now a point, and obviously losing still gives you no points. And we saw one of the most dramatic comebacks ever, and it has to do with this man, Fabiano Caruana. Yesterday he was bottom of the standings. He had a terrible day 1. He had a fantastic day 2, and he leads the standings. But how did he do against Magnus Carlsen? And who leads overall? In the first game of their mini-match, Fabiano Caruana played e4, and then we had e5 from Magnus Carlsen. Knight f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. It was a Spanish game. Knight to f6. A reminder, this is still a rapid time control. Short castles, and it is an open Spanish. d4, knight drops back, we take, and go here. And it actually becomes like a Berlin endgame. We get a Berlin endgame, which is brave from Fabi, because Magnus Carlsen is like the endgame king, and you're going straight for an endgame. So he also plays h3. This is actually a line we saw from Hans Niemann in the US Chess Championship. If you go check out that game, I think I titled it Hans Niemann's Masterclass or Berlin Masterclass. He played h3, and we got a very similar system from him in that game as to what Fabi does here. But, it's a endgame. It's a Berlin endgame. Black does have the Berlin Wall here. We're probably going to see the pawn expansions. We've already seen this rook h6 idea. So, it's now, how do we go about? So, Magnus gets rid of one of the, Fabi gets rid of one of the bishops. So now we have same color bishops, and he's going to look to target this. The knight's a bit awkwardly placed, but it's fine. Fabi jumps his knight to the center. We get c5, which is a good move, just taking space, not really allowing for infiltrations. We get c3, and now c4. A very interesting move, but is that maybe a bit too provocative for Magnus Carlsen? Because now we get g4, h takes g3, pawn takes g3, and now b5. I'll be honest, I've never seen the Berlin endgame played like this. So we'll see. Magnus obviously has an idea, and his idea is b4, which is the best move. But now rook e2 comes, and now Magnus has to be patient and play something like rook a6. This is what he has to do, he has to be a bit patient. Instead of that, Magnus Carlsen plays rook b8. And now Fabi's better, but he has to be very precise. So he plays h4, as you can see, the only move to keep advantage. And then after rook to a6, he plays h5. It's so strange, right? You're just leaving this pawn to hang. You're allowing all of this on the queen side. You just play h4, h5. And you're going to cause Magnus Carlsen problems. King to f8 comes, and now you can play g4. Where does this knight go? Can't come forward, really. I suppose it can go there, but then it's got nowhere back. So it has to go to h6. And now you can play king f3. Rook takes, and now g5. Where does the knight go? It comes back, but now king g4. Knight's trapped. g6 protected for now. H takes g6, takes g6, e6. Fabi is just storming Magnus Carlsen down, and bishop d6 does not help, because I play, well, knight f6 works fine. You can also just play bishop takes d6 check. Knight takes d6, and now here you would play e7 check. Wins the game. Because the king either has to take or allow it to stay there, and then the knight's coming in. Bishop d6, not a great move for Magnus Carlsen. The knight jumps in already, and now look at that. Just infiltrating. Fabi surrenders a little bit of a disadvantage, but it keeps enough of it as we get to this endgame, where knight e2, the clutch defensive move, protecting promotion on here, because obviously the idea is here, and then if takes, you can now stop promotion on c1, and Fabiano Caruana defeats Magnus Carlsen. But they obviously had 2 games in their match. So what happened in game 2? Very important. Well, let's have a look as I load it up. Sorry, Chess.com's doing that weird thing, and I don't want to spoil the results, because it was a fantastic game, as I already see that we might be having skipped frames, so I don't know what's going on there. Apologies if this is a bit jumpy. Magnus Carlsen with the white pieces, which you can see, just double checking. We have d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, and c4 takes. And what we get is basically a Queen's Gambit accepted, right? a6, bishop to f4, Magnus Carlsen, almost favoring development over just recapturing this pawn, which is weird because now e6 comes, and yes, you can play e4, but I've got b5. Now, Magnus Carlsen must sacrifice the knight. Obviously, this is, like, it's so strange. Move 7, Magnus Carlsen has got 6 minutes, Fabi's got less than 4, he's got 3 minutes. Like, absolutely insane time use here. After e4 to play b4. Like, b5 took Fabiano Caruana 4 minutes. Magnus Carlsen here plays knight takes b5. It's a simple idea. You can't take back because I take your rook. Fabi does take back. Brilliant move. It's the best move. Because you have to take the rook. You have to take the rook. Queen takes a8, and now look at this. Check. Which way do you block? You have to block. You have to play bishop to d2 or knight to d2. At which point your queen just about gets trapped. In the sense of it gets trapped and there's no way to escape. Your queen will not be able to escape. Magnus plays king to e2. And now e5. Huge problem. Huge problem. Magnus Carlsen's king is stuck in the center, and despite the fact that he's got a rook for a knight, and he's up 2 points of material, it's not good enough. You can take once, but look at that. A second brilliant move from Fabiano Caruana, and he's still only +1. The sacrifice of a full knight. Why can this be possible? Hey, what happens if you take the knight? Well, bishop to g4 comes. And I win your queen. If you take with the knight. Okay, what if I take with the bishop? What's the idea here? Queen d3, mate. That is the huge problem. Knight takes e5. Such a beautiful move from Fabiano Caruana. Can't be taken. So we play rook to d1. Now disallowing that mate. But the knight jumps in. The impossible move makes now you can get the knight in here, and now it's a problem. You can give check, but I can get my bishop to d7. Takes, queen slides over. Now we force a queen trade, effectively. But I take with check, and then I pick up the queen. And even though your king on f4 can come out, I'm still winning. Magnus Carlsen is up 3 points of material. It's not going to matter. Rook takes a2. The king does not belong there. And not to mention you're playing without this rook. Rook to b1, g5 check. Check. Takes. That rook is borderline trapped. Slides over, and now check. King slides over, check. Here. And we're just trying to weave a mating net. And Fabiano Caruana missed a win here. He had mate in 4 with rook a6. Actually, incredible move. Just getting the rook in. But bishop to f5 is good enough. As he is going to force Magnus Carlsen to resign eventually after a couple more moves, starting with bishop to f2 check, forcing this, and now the king coming in, and ooh, has he given Magnus a little bit of life? He went the wrong way, and now Magnus might have a bit of life. King e3, knight jumping to the side. We're not trying to make the king anymore, now we're trying to win pawns and promote. Has this gone the wrong way? Knight to d2, knight takes b2, king comes in, king slides over, h4. Magnus is going to play this. He's not going to just lose. The one person you really struggle to beat is Magnus Carlsen, because you can't just beat him once. Most people end after the second brilliant move. Not Magnus Carlsen. He's going to keep fighting. f6, knight e4. We take once. H takes g5. Now the bishop comes in. And we take. And now we get to this endgame. Fabiano Caruana is up 2 points of material. Which is 2 pawns. But it's not so easy. King c3. but now knight d1 check. And when the king slides over, rook c2 check. And finally, Fabiano Caruana gets the job done, knight d3 check, which is just simply a fork. And there will be promotion. And Fabiano Caruana, huge victory. If I can take you to the standings, I hope you'll be able to see them. Yes, so now we will turn on window capture. Yes, you can see them. So the overall standings, Magnus Carlsen does lead. He's got 11.5 points. Fabiano Caruana now up to second with 10.5. Hikaru and Gukesh both sitting on 7. Here you can see the day 1 standings. Gukesh scoring 4 out of his 6. Magnus with 3.5. Hikaru with 3. And Fabiano Caruana yesterday only scoring 1.5. Completely changed today. Fabiano Caruana scoring 9 points out of a possible 12. Because remember, a win was 2 points, which was so important. Magnus Carlsen with 8. Hikaru Nakamura with 4 and Gukesh with 3. But today, it is just as important. Day 3, wins count 3 points. So even Gukesh sitting in last place can make a comeback. That is why this is clutch chess. That is why this is one of the most insane chess tournaments ever conceived. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching.